Hey, how's it going everybody? ZxFBusiness here, and welcome to another commentary. I've been wanting to do more of these because, well, like I've said in the past, they're easy to do, they're quick, and it gives you a little bit of insight to my life, and it just kind of helps with that personal bond, I guess. You know, you learn about me, and I reveal some stories and stuff that I think are funny from my past, and they're probably relatable in some way. I think we've all had times in our lives where we've approached someone that we've had feelings for, or have had a crush on, and, well, that's what today's story is. I'm going to tell you the time that I gained enough confidence to go and talk to, my crush at the time. I'm not gonna say any names. In fact, I'm going to make up a fake one right now. How about Jess? I like that name, Jess. Yeah, okay, we'll use that one. So as some of you may know, I was in the band when I was in school. I had been in the band from grade 6 all the way to 10th, and 11th and 12th were homeschool years. And the majority of my friends who happened to be female were in the band, because that's really all I talked to was a lot of guys I knew and still know, you know, were in the band, and most of the girls that I know were in band. And I guess I kind of just had this thing for girls that were in the band. Pretty much all of my crushes that I know I've had were in the band, or they have like some kind of interest in music. Anywho, me and Jess had direct messaged each other on Instagram, and I gave her my number, or she gave me her number, and I texted her, and we texted for a while. So I was like, alright, well, hey, that's one step down, the number. And next, that was whenever, you know, you get to know each other, or there would be no point in exchanging numbers. But we talked, and we got along quite well. We had a lot of the same interests in movies and stuff, some music, and all around, she was just a nice person to talk to. She had a, you know, really cool personality. She was funny, and, you know, she was sweet. But there was one problem, though. One tiny little problem that's kind of important for liking someone: talking to them in person. Because as some of you may or may not know, talking to someone through text or online, or, you know, through voice chat is very, very different than talking to them in person. What you're like when you are actually near each other. Luckily, the one friend that I've met online that I've seen in person was Mike, and it felt like me and Mike have known each other for a long time. Now, of course, we're just friends. It's not like you know, so you get a thing for someone, and then when you're near them, it's really awkward. So I don't really know if that kind of counts, but all the crushes I've talked to in person, I've been extremely nervous and really quiet, as opposed to texting them or whatever. But I could never seem to be brave enough to go up and talk to Jess in person. In fact, one day she actually brought that up to me while we were getting out of band, and she was like, you know, you text me a lot, but you never actually talk to me. And of course I didn't want to sound like a weirdo and be like, well, I mean, I'm too shy to talk to you in person. You know, that's you know, you don't say that. So I think I just made up an excuse saying like, oh, well, you know, you know, we only have one class together, and, you know, so I don't really get to see you that often. I don't know, I was really weird, still am weird when talking to friends in person. But yeah, so I took that into mind, and I was like, alright, well, at some point, I think I will approach her and try to talk, who knows. And I don't think I told her this before we actually did talk in person, but I think I remember at some point telling her that I had a crush on her. I think. I'm not sure. I do know that she reacted in a pretty positive way. She was like, oh, well, you know, that's really sweet. But she didn't, like, say, like, I have the same feeling towards you, or, like, yeah, I'd be interested in, like, going out with you. But she said it wasn't out of the question, so hey, that was another good thing, I suppose. Anywho, then came the day that I was like, alright, you know what? I've got to talk to her, because we've been texting for weeks, and I've been too shy to talk to her in person, so you know what? I'm gonna do it. Like I said, we didn't have any classes together other than band, but in band, there's not really much time to talk to your friends because the majority is quiet and doing music. Not to mention, she played the flute, and I was in percussion. I was in the back, and she was way up near the front of the class. While we didn't have any classes together, we did have the same lunch, and I knew where she sat during lunch. So I was like, you know, it's no big deal. I'll just, you know, lunchtime, I'll walk up and say hi and, you know, be like, hey, you want to hang out in person at some point? And then go sit back down and brag to my friends that I was brave enough to go talk to her. Well, then lunch actually came. So there I was at lunch, sitting at the table with the boys, cracking open a cold one, you know, the usual. I'm sorry, I had to say the meme. And I was talking to my friends. I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go talk to Jess today. And then they were like, oh, well, it's about dang time. They thought I wouldn't do it. That the whole time I was sitting there, you know, kind of stalling. So there I was sitting with my friends, and Jess was actually all by herself at the table that she was sitting at. She usually had her friend there, but I guess she was going to get lunch, and she was already sat down because she brought her own lunch. But my friends were like, come on, Zach, just go do it, you know, do it, you know, just talk to her. She's all alone, you know what I'm saying? And so then I was like, all right, I will, at some point. And, you know, like, minutes had passed, and I didn't tell my friends, all right, I'm gonna go talk to her, because I didn't want them to be like, oh, it's about time, you know, and make me, like, pressured or anything. So I just sat up, didn't say anything to them, walked on over, sat down, and was like, hey, how you doing? And Jesus, that was one of those moments in my life where I'm like, holy crap, I just did that. I just walked over and sat down and was like, hey. And surprisingly, I wasn't, like, stuttering or as shy as I thought I would be. And she was like, you know, she smiled, she was like, hey. So I was like, that's a good sign. She didn't seem, like, weirded out or anything. And so I was like, saw y'all alone, you know, I figured I'd come say hi. And we talked for a little bit. I was like, you know, how you been doing? And, you know, we just kind of had standard conversation. And so then I was like, hey, you want to try and, like, hang out this weekend or something? Go to, I don't know, the mall. Because I don't know, you know, girls like to hang out at the mall. That's just the thing. I mean, I like hanging out at the mall, mainly just to go see a movie or Hot Topic or something. But then she was like, yeah, you know, that sounds like a good idea. You know, I might have work. Not sure if I do or not, but that sounds like a good idea. And, well, we eventually didn't hang out because she did have work. And then, like, a week later, I think she was dating someone else. Not sure, but, oh well. You know, what are you gonna do? It happens. But hey, I got enough confidence to go and talk to her. And I think that was a pretty big achievement. So, you know, I told her, hey, you know, see you later. I'll text you at some point. And I walked over, sat back down, and my friends just looked at me, nodded their heads, and was like, you done did it. And of course, I was blushing like hell, just because, like, you know, me being the freaking shyest and most quietest kid in school, like, geez, that was a big step for me. But, yeah, I think I did pretty well. Definitely something I probably won't forget, considering, well, that was the first time I'd just approached my crush and said hi. But, yeah, I guess there's a story. Hopefully some of you can relate, you know, going to approach your crush and talk to them. Hopefully you guys had some better luck and eventually ended up going out with the person that you had a crush on. I did end up going out with someone, I think, like, the year after, but it wasn't the person I had a crush on. That's another story for another day, probably. Me, you know, asking someone out for the first time, because I've only been in one relationship. We're not together anymore. The relationship lasted for, what, like 3 or 4 months, not sure. And then I was kind of like, you know what, I rushed into this just because the thought of someone liking me was unheard of. But yeah, if you want me to tell that story, then, you know, I'll tell it some other day. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, there you have it, the time that I got the confidence to talk to my crush. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you really liked it, why not consider pushing that subscribe button and little bell so you get notified every time I upload. And well, until the next video or commentary, hasta la vista.